Well, I'm going to have to take another little swim in the cesspool. Unfortunately, all of us will a little bit here. I think I've addressed this repeatedly, but I need to underscore it. President of the United States put out a True Social post today, and I could not agree with him more. As you know, it's been my steadfast position that we have a lot of con men who are trying to exploit this Epstein matter. And in doing so, they're getting hits and clicks and subscriptions and eyes on the so-called new media platforms, the cesspool that is the internet, the cesspool that is social media. Not completely, but by and large. And this is where they live. This is where they live, and this is where they make their money. And it doesn't take much, this cabal, this niche. It doesn't take much to have a very lucrative living if you can fool enough suckers. That's the truth. Now, the president put the following out. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier. The lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in 2016, the presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're not good at governing, not good at policy. They're no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Like glue. Their new scam is what we'll forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters, and he has capital in past, my past supporters have bought into this bull crap. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about, with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Democrats, is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Make America great again. I get exactly what he's talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, they keep calling themselves influencers. Cable TV calls them influencers. Who are they influencing? These are mostly con men and con women. Let's go back before this Epstein situation. They lied and conned about Iran and Israel. I should know. It was 1 against 1,000. Maybe a handful against 1,000. Me and a handful of others and you. Against these con men and con women who said it would be World War III, who said China and Russia would get involved, who said it would be a massive conflagration in the Middle East, that said that we would lose tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 soldiers. They lied, fear-mongered, scaremongered. I can't tell you how many months it was said to me, how are we going to fight these people? By people who refuse to fight them. Well, I decided to fight them, particularly when I became the target of them. They lie. They deceive. They are not conservatives. They are not constitutionalists. They're not make America great again. They're constantly ripping at our society, ripping at our culture, ripping at our country, ripping at our past military victories, including World War II. I've explained this over the past 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right, Mr. Producer? They're con men and they're con women. Most of them are disgruntled former employees of some other corporation. Some of them have been criminals. Some of them have had more personalities than Sybil. Some of them have hired hookers and perverts. And I go down the list. Very few of them are outstanding. Very few of them are people of real accomplishment. Very few of them are people you'd want your children to be near, I can tell you that. Not all of them, but too many of them. And they latched on to Donald Trump. They didn't help him get elected. Donald Trump was going to get elected, period. They grabbed onto his coattails in order to promote themselves, in order to grift. And then they claim that you and me and the 77 million people who voted for Donald Trump, really, we wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, but for all of these grifters and con men and con women. It's a lie. You know it and I know it. But the left-wing media and their entrails like Mediaite and Drudge Report, they are orgasmic over the pedophile Epstein, orgasmic over Epstein, because they view this as a way to try and damage this administration. In the long run, even the mid-run, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because you're now going to have a binary decision to make, as they say, a binary decision. Either you stand with the president or you don't. Either you stand with the president or the Epstein orgasmic obsessed con men and con women. Look at each one of these people. Dig into their backgrounds, each and every one of them. What kind of frauds and phonies they are. They don't care about the Epstein files. They want their hits. They want money. Dershowitz has come out and said there is no list. There's no list. Whether somebody said there was a list or wasn't a list, there's no list. But it doesn't matter, right? Then we get the line that Epstein was part of intelligence. And when you actually hunt that down, and I've posted twice, they point to Acosta, the former U.S. attorney who cut the lousy deal with this guy. But there's no first-hand statement by Acosta in that regard. And notice, none of these grifters, none of these con men and women even try to contact Acosta. Or if they did, they can't get an answer. And the fact is, Acosta never said it. It's an article in the Daily Beast, the Daily Bestiality, a left-wing crap site, by a reporter who said he spoke to somebody. Who spoke to somebody? Who spoke to, the claim is, Acosta, who said, yeah, he's part of Intel. That is not Acosta saying anything. I'm not here to defend Acosta, and Epstein got exactly what he deserved. There's no evidence anybody killed him. As they wrote over at National Review, that would be mission impossible with the cameras and everything else there. So there's no evidence somebody killed him. There's no evidence of a list. There's no evidence of intel agencies or Mossad or the Israelis. And you're being played for chumps in order to undermine the president by two elements. The people who hate him, the Democrats and the media, and these con men and con women, many of whom have stabbed the president in the back before. I've explained this over the past 6-8 weeks. What they said about the president in text, what they've said about the president behind his back. They've clung on to Trump because they want the hits, they want the clicks, they want the eyes. And now they're turning on him. And they're using this. First they tried Iran and Israel. Now they're using this. There's a piece in the Free Press by Rebecca Heinrichs called The Right's 1939 Project. It's a great piece. What she has in her piece, I've pretty much been saying over the course of the last 2 months. Over the course of the last 2 months. And there have been a couple of us standing up to this. Unfortunately, she doesn't mention that in her piece, or the Free Press doesn't mention it either. But you here in this massive audience, you know. You know that I've stared these people down. You know that if we hadn't stared these people down, they may have succeeded in pushing an agenda. In pushing an agenda which would have wound up with Iran having nuclear weapons and 20,000 ballistic missiles. Because these people are not pro-American. They ingratiate themselves with dictators, with monarchs. They keep trashing our country. As I say over and over and over again, they claim to be America first when they're America last, which is sort of what Rebecca Heinrich says in her piece in the Free Press. That's correct. Those who said we should have gotten out of NATO, like Senator Mike Lee, among others, I've called them out. Crazy. That's crazy. They claim that we're the imperialists. We're the colonialists. America, are you an imperialist? Are you a colonialist? When they trash our country, they're trashing you. That's what they're doing. Whether it's the Marxist Islamists or whether it's these conmen isolationists. They put out comedians out there who are anti-Semites to make their case. They put out phony historians who attacks Churchill and says it's Churchill's fault that Hitler wouldn't stop. How sick is this? And they pass around these phony experts from one podcast to another, one platform to another. They interview each other. They promote each other. It's incestuous. It's a cabal. And then they're platformed. Platformed. And so this guy, Dave Smith, who's a complete lowlife, he's in a debate with our dear friend Josh Hammer. Should have never happened. Should have been platformed. Well, don't we have a right to ask questions? You don't bring anti-Semites on the stage, do you? Do you bring Klansmen on the stage to have a debate about race? Do you? No, you don't. Not if you're serious. Not if you have principles. This is the time when men and women of principles, values, belief systems, who believe in this country, who believe in the United States military, who believe in American law enforcement, who believe that our veterans are heroes, who believe that the men and women who have fought for this country in the past, God bless their souls, did so because of a righteous cause. They even question World War II. This mix of Marxist Islamists and the isolationist conmen is very dangerous for this country. Even Donald Trump isn't good enough for them. Even Donald Trump is not good enough for them. They're making money off of him. It's too lucrative for them to give up. They want to drag us into the sewer, which is where they operate. With the racism and the bigotry and the anti-Semitism, with the anti-Americanism, with the footsie, with the Marxists and the Islamists. Where they stand with Iran against Israel. Where they stand with Hamas against Israel. Where they stand with Putin and Russia against Ukraine. Where they sound like economic socialists. That's not you. That's not you. That's not me. If President Trump isn't good enough for them, who the hell is? Who the hell is?